4 weeks ago and talking about Upward Bound. And I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with Upward Bound, but there's 2 programs. They're federally funded. One's at PCC. My colleague Cindy Ayala directs that program, and then we have one at CSU Pueblo. The CSU Pueblo Upward Bound program serves low-income and first-generation college students. And I have 3 schools in District 60, and I have county in District 70. Chad basically dropped in. We were talking about education, and we were talking about some of the good things that are happening in both District 60 and 70. And we talked about the fact that we have the first team in Pueblo that's competing statewide for the B.E.S.T Robotics Championship. B.E.S.T stands for Boosting Engineering, Science, and Technology. So we'd be the first team ever from Pueblo high schools to compete at the statewide level. So our team this morning represents Centennial and County, but I do have students from East as well represented. So what you're going to see them do today is this is going to be, in a sense, their first dry run at presenting the marketing aspect of the competition. And it's a big aspect. There's 25 points on a scale of 1 to 100 for this particular presentation. So Chad suggested that the kids basically do their dry run and practice with some of the local clubs, and he suggested you all. And then they're going to be presenting at the Optometrist Club at lunch today. So pretty much it's for you to just check out the team. They decided to call themselves the Thunderbots and talk about the project. And then from your standpoint, to sort of serve as their mentors, to give them some suggestions, some of your thoughts, some of your experience on presenting, and then go from there. So we really appreciate your time, and thank you so much. All right, Thunderbots, go.
We're from CSU Pueblo Upward Bound Thunderbots.
We're trying to promote our company. We're trying to promote our company. We're the Thunder Robotics Incorporated, and this is our marketing team. We're just trying to sell you our design and our robot.
As we move further into the 21st century, space exploration, interplanetary resource development, and space community settlement will become a necessity. The recently launched Space Elevator program will require unmanned robotic vehicles for routine space cargo delivery. We're here with our technical demonstration system as well as our engineering notebook to prove to you that Thunder Robotics is poised to outmatch the strongest of our competitors to win your trust, and with that, your contract. Our company's mission was to develop premier, low-cost solutions for transporting space-destined cargo from warehouses on Lahaina Loa in the Pacific Ocean out beyond Earth's gravity field to the anchor asteroid Atlas, which lies in geosynchronous orbit 62,000 miles above us. And we succeeded with our cargo delivery prototype, the Thunderbots. On Honolua, there's a building from which a vertical line of carbon nanotubing secured around an unobtainium monocrystalline structure rises up and disappears into the sky. The Thunderbot will ascend along this line after collecting cargo to the first stop along its way to Atlas, which is Midway Station. After a storage depot for cargo, a solar power station, as well as comfortable living quarters for our engineers.
In our company information, which our organizational chart is, our Chief Executive Officer is Bill Garduna. Our Chief Financial Officer is Anna Mestes, which could not be here with us today. Our Chief Operations Officer is James White. Our Director of Marketing is Jordan Masters. I'm the Director of Public Relations. Research and construction supervisors are Dante Bueno, which could not be here with us also, and Tyler Garcia. Our engineering team is Isabella Hardin, Sarah Garcia, which could not be with us today, and Natasha Pacheco.
So we've been having meetings and brainstorm about what we can do. And brainstorming, we would basically come together and throw out ideas, and our whole group would just be like, okay, the field, so we get that experience help.
Our strategies for product development, which is we do research a lot. We're utilizing space laboratory science. We do trial and experimentation, and we also do market research.
Okay, our company demographics include 5 men and 5 women, which is pretty cool. We have it even now. And we have 2 Caucasians. Will, no, not Will. Two Pacific Islanders. No, 1 Pacific Islander, that's Kyrie. 1 mixed race, which is me, and 5 Hispanics, which is Natasha, Tyler, Dante, and Adam. We also include different schools. We come from County and East and Centennial. And we have also a variety of grades such as 9, 10, and 12, and 11. So yeah.
Okay, our budget and financial profile, major financial investors are CSU Pueblo Upward Bound. They provide our food when we go anywhere, they provide the transportation, they provide the hotels. They also provided us with mentors who are here to help us with our robot, and they provide us with internet and supplies. Our in-kind investors are CSU Pueblo College of Education, Engineering, and Professional Studies. They provide us laboratory space, laboratory equipment, office equipment, and supplies.
Our brainstorming methods. We have our group discussions when we come together in the Upward Bound office, and we would talk about who's doing the notebook, who's doing the robot, and who's doing the marketing. Well, we decided on that, and then we would present different ideas to each other as far as like who's doing the PowerPoints, who's writing the information essay for the notebook, and who's building the robot, who's programming the robot, who's doing all this. And then evaluation of a working prototype by observing the following. We're trying to get the arm working now. It's not great. It goes up and down. The design we're trying to come up with is trying to keep the thing balanced while it goes up the pole. So that's what we're doing.
The evolution of design and alternatives, we've kind of basically decided on what materials what we're going to use and how it's going to look. And then for the effective and implements of these designs, so from paper to actual 3D models, basically just standard milling, drilling, sawing, and putting everything together to see if it actually works. Does our design hold up how we wanted it to? Does it properly have the shape and dimensions of what we thought it would and how that would work?
So our marketing and publication relation effort.
Created a publicity campaign to inform schools and the community of the Thunderbots.
Each one of the Thunder Robotics marketing representatives met with their principals and teachers to discuss what we were doing and to get a little bit extra help from them. We created flyers and posters, and we passed them out at all of our schools and throughout our community. We had a press release published in the Pueblo Chieftain. Rocky Mountain PBS filmed a short demonstration of our robot for Homework Hotline. Our presentations were made to Pueblo West Rotary Club and Pueblo Optimist Club. We gathered a group of campus and community partners to support our efforts.
CSU Pueblo Office of Provost, CSU College of Education, Engineering, and Professional Studies, School District 60 and 70, Centennial High School, Pueblo West Rotary Club, Consultants for Education Initiatives, Pueblo Education Consortium, and Rocky Mountain PBS and Optimist Club of Pueblo.
Thank you for your time. Any questions? Any questions? That's better.
How are we on time?
Could I make a suggestion for Bill, Tyler, and James maybe? They may be having a hard time picturing what we're building. You talked about it, but if we don't have a slide about it. So if somebody could briefly tell them that the robot climbs 10 feet in the air or something like that?
For the actual competition and for our demonstration, we've built a model of our space elevator prototype, which will be sending a 10-foot pole along a cable, having to deliver cargoes that are represented by little wiffle balls, pop bottles, and then they'll have to be moved from the ground 10 feet in the air by our robot. There's habitation modules, there's a T module, which they haven't told us what that is supposed to represent, that will have to go up into the air. There's also things that will have to come down. If this picture in the corner here, it's hard to see, but that's one of my original sketches for the body of our robot, which will be mounting all the electronic components and the arms. Yes.
How's it powered?
It's powered currently by a 12-volt battery.
And that's
just for our
contained
demonstration.
inside? Or
Yes, that will be inside the main case.
what's the weight of this thing?
We have to keep it under 24 pounds. We don't have a current weight because we don't have everything mounted yet. We're still designing and trying to problem solve our arm.
Give us an idea how big it is.
Currently, about that big, about that tall. The body itself is a perfect cube.
About that? No. No.
That's a rectangle.
I'm just saying in size, box size.
So it's powered by a battery, but what's the propellant?
It's
The propellant will be a large motor that will just be winding the cable.
What's the when and where?
We have a practice session on the 20th this month, and that is, what's the name of the high school again? What's the name of the high school?
Where is it going to be at high school?
West
Denver High School.
Denver High.
Denver
High
High
school in
School.
Denver.
I just go there.
When you load cargo and unload cargo, does that have to be done remotely?
Yes, all of this will be done remotely. The person operating the robot will be standing approximately 15 feet away.
And you do it with a
Yes.
remote?
For the sake of the demonstration, it is an Xbox controller. It's rigged to work wirelessly with our robot. Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Is your robot your unique imagination, or did they give you kind of parameters for this event?
We were given a box of materials that we were allowed to use, and only those materials. Some of them were what we call expendable materials that we can saw in half, we can drill into. Some of them are materials that we have to return to them just as we got them, such as the motors and servos and the controller. And all of the designing, almost all original design, but I guarantee you there's going to be about 15 other boxes with arms when we get there.
So a lot of imagination, but also some
Yeah.
given concrete things you had to use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
How much time have you guys put in hour-wise at the labs and stuff, do you think? Are you guys keeping track of that?
Yes, we are keeping track of that. That's probably our biggest shortcoming, because as we are from 3 different schools and we're balancing 10 different schedules along with the schedules of our advisors and lab space, most of our work happens on Friday afternoons in about 3 to 4 hour sessions, and some Saturdays. Saturdays from 10 to 4 as well.
After school,
I-
Wednesdays.
I was gonna say, that's probably the biggest challenge you have with so many students at different schools.
Yes.
Is getting together, especially if one's in charge of certain things, right?
Yeah, and that also is, with the rest of the competition and the rest of the teams, we are the only team that is made up of different schools. All of the other teams are one school and one school only. So they're actually looking to us to see how that goes this year.
We are also the very first team ever from Pueblo
Yeah.
Really? Terrific.
Yes.
How was your team assembled? How are you recruited?
Our recruiting, specific requirements-wise, what that was given to us, half of our team had to be from one school. That's why 5 of us are from Centennial. Recruiting wise, we are all from the Upward Bound program, and it's really those who just have an interest. I do a lot of computer programming, and so that's how I originally got into this. My friend James here is an excellent mechanic. Tyler does programming as well as graphic design. He made the logos on our t-shirts and did all that himself. Got it printed for us. Natasha and the girls, they're all wonderful presenters, and they built our wonderful PowerPoint. Yeah, and most of us are from a different group, our STEM group, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so it wasn't a far jump to get to this team.
So is it something passed out at the high school for this, or?
No,
Did you sign up?
actually, the original, the competition was brought to our attention by one of our advisors, Miss Carol Fortino, and it was originally presented to me because she knew I had an interest in that. And in order to get a team, we had to get our whole team ready to go, and then CSUP Upward Bound was essentially our financial backer for it.
We basically sent out we work very closely with all of our students. We have 87 students. And my personal interest is in STEM, so when I got on board with Upward Bound, I created what we call a STEM cohort. So just a few students who are really interested in science, technology, engineering, and math. So pretty much Steve, who's our counselor, I just say, hey Steve, send a Facebook out, how many kids would like to be involved in robotics? So that's basically how it literally happened, Facebook messaging. And these are the students that responded back.
So do you use CSU students for guidance, mentoring?
We do have one student from the engineering department, and I wish I could pronounce his name properly.
Nurman.
And he's absolutely fantastic. We bounce ideas off of him, and sometimes he gives us ideas which technically isn't supposed to happen, but yeah. I didn't say that.
It
My
really
son's
has been a big challenge
electronics.
not being a school, because we just
Yeah.
don't have the resources that a school does. So we're working against a lot of challenge, and as Will said, this is really an experiment. We just don't know if this is something we could sort of continue with, because, a school has all the resources, they have their teachers, right after class, the kids go right to lab every day. But hey, we're doing it.
Yeah, it is slowly but surely it is getting done.
What's the purpose of doing it with 5 different schools?
It's just Upward Bound.
Because it's an
It's-
upward bound program.
That was just
as
our
opposed to a
pool of
school
people to
program.
pick from. We didn't have as many people from Centennial who were interested, and so one of the rules allowed for different schools to be brought in.
Oh, you have to have so many on a team.
Yes.
Okay, so
There's,
you're-
I think, the team minimum, I think, is 4, but in order to do this with 4 people, you'd have to be absolutely nuts.
No, that's not even, that's the,
No, it's a PowerPoint minimum.
there's teams like 20, 40 people
Yeah.
in one team. We're the smallest group.
There's also a 6-week, we didn't give you a time frame. From start to finish, this all has to be done in 6 weeks. Completion, testing, competition, 6 weeks.
Design
Fast.
to building to implementation to debugging to our final presentation is 6 weeks.
When is your final presentation?
It's the 27th. 27th, and that's when we will have to go and compete against all the other teams who build their robots and see who's the best.
23 other high school teams.
Are you guys all in the same level of high school, or you?
Different. We're
No,
all different.
it's all different levels.
We're freshmen, sophomores,
That's
and
cool.
I'm a senior.
and one year.
Senior.
And do you think this, do you
Junior.
think what you're doing now in some way reflects what you may want to pursue when you go on into maybe higher education?
Yes, I'm actually going to go to college at Boulder for aviation and engineering. And that's my
You
personal
guys are
passion.
going to go into advertising and
I'm going to
promotion?
Harvard to be a lawyer, so I'm a law.
Cool.
If that doesn't work out, I'm a math teacher. I love math, so.
Yes.
I have to ask, could you describe the issues with this uncooperative arm?
Well, the biggest hurdle we're having is we are given 3 motors and 4 motors and 4 servos. one of the motors has to be dedicated to the winch system, which is how we're ascending. And the other 3 motors and the 4 servos we can dedicate to whatever we want. So it's just making sure the arm can have all the motion it requires, because one of the challenges is there is a box. It's made of a square made of PVC, and there's a little bar on the ground in the shape of a T. And so the T has to go up, go through the slot, and be rotated 90 degrees. And we currently can't figure out how to make that happen. And that is one of the biggest, because each piece of cargo you move has a specific point value for the competition, which is how we're being judged. And the T is one of the biggest point gainers we can receive.
So does this have to pick up, I mean, it's all remote.
Yes.
Does this have to pick up the cargo
Yes.
and lift it, and then come back and pick up another piece of cargo?
Claw, shell,
So that's,
something.
if this were to go to Atlas, is that what the
Yes.
asteroid you said? So this would all be remote
Yes.
from the cargo site?
And that's probably the biggest thing, because if indeed it does fail, no one will be on it when it does. Yes.
If you get it to work, will you bring it back and show us?
We'd love to.
No, Deb.
When we win, we will be back to show you our prize-winning robot.